All right, guys, so we are here today with Blayne Abrahams, a true one percenter. You know what our lifestyle is about and what movement we're trying to create and what community we're trying to create here. It's about mindset, accountability, thinking differently than the normal status quo today of soft people. That's why I thought it would be appropriate to the first guest on my first episode of a podcast to truly have a man that embodies that mindset and lifestyle. He's going to do a small introduction so that you guys get to know just a touch about him, and then we'll get into some questions. So,
All right. What's up, brother? Thank you so much for having me. What's up, guys? Yeah, guys, like Brandon said, my name is Blayne. I'm a young 27-year-old bodybuilder. I got my own company, actually two of them. I don't believe in just doing one thing at a time. If you really want to reach that level, you got to really put yourself in the best position to get there. I come from Kimberley, a very, very small town in the Northern Cape. As most of you guys will know, it's a place with a big hole. And I find myself in Johannesburg now. Moved a little bit from town to town, but you know what? God's blessed me to be in the position that I'm in, to be able to work with people, help them, empower them, get their level and that mindset to like the next level as well. And truly just try and be somebody that people can look at as a figure of motivation, bro. So,
nice.
I'm very blessed and I'm very, very thankful to be the first guest on your podcast, bro. So thank you for having me, man.
Thanks for coming through,
Of
bro.
course, bro.
Appreciate it. You guys can also see he's repping a very cool brand.
Yes, sir. This is Future Aesthetics. It's a new brand. This is Future Aesthetics. We're just literally launching our very first line next month, actually, in March. So we're excited for it. It's a streetwear brand actually designed for the streets. That's literally the slogan.
Yeah.
Designed for the streets. The whole goal is to just bring something different to the South African market, exactly the same way like you guys are doing with the podcast,
Yeah.
Doing something different. Surrounding yourself with like-minded people, bro. That's what it's about.
Exactly, bro.
Yeah.
Your net worth is your network, right?
100%.
That's one of the most true statements I've ever heard.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely.
Let's kick off the question straight away, brother.
Let's do it.
So, obviously, I'm all about the 1% lifestyle, mindset, discipline, early starts, grind. What was the moment you stopped just going to the gym and actually started living like an elite athlete would? And what changed in your head the moment you decided to take that step?
All right. It's a solid question, bro. I'm not going to lie. If I have to think back, I'd say it would be after my third show, actually. It was Arnold Classic. I always considered myself to be on that level. It's okay. You can be a competitor, call yourself a competitor. But what really changed after that show was looking at those high-level pro athletes and seeing what they look like and being like, how do I get there? Like, what do I have to do to become one of those guys?
Yeah.
And I had to switch from just being a mediocre bodybuilder or mediocre fitness enthusiast to becoming like, I can't skip a meal. I got to make sure that I'm training, I'm counting my calories, I'm doing all of those things. But what kind of came from that was realizing like you can't be comfortable in any aspect of your life. Like if you want to become great at bodybuilding, it's all good, but you got to become great in other aspects. And that's what really shifted my mindset to like, I'm working hard in this, but then other aspects are also like falling behind. So I've got to work hard on other aspects of my life too.
Yeah.
So seeing that kind of shift in like, this is what I look like in my physique, and this is what others look like, and how do I get there, kind of made me shift everything in that sense. Like, if I want to be great in one thing, I got to also be great in other things as well.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of shifted it,
Okay, nice. And what would you say in your opinion, is having a great mindset? Like what are the challenges to maintain that type of level of mindset?
I think life in general is going to challenge you to keep that mindset, Life is going to find ways to knock you down. And the thing is, we had this conversation. Like, people tend to just stay there, stay at the bottom. But I think, in my personal opinion, having a great mindset is being like, I'll get knocked down, but I'm going to get back up again. I'm going to fight back. I'm not just going to stay at the bottom because I know what I want. And so many times people get knocked down and they get so tired of trying to get back up that they just stay there and they're like, I'm just going to accept this.
Yeah, victim mentality.
Exactly. But you can't accept you can't accept just the basic life, bro. Just saying there,
Yeah.
So that to me is, in my opinion, I think that's what makes a great mindset, bro. Not saying no, getting back up.
Yeah. I've also learned in life is you can't allow your external factors to influence the mind.
Of course.
Because you're going to always be struggling throughout life. I don't think we as souls and spirits came to this space of reality to come and just experience bliss and happiness and joy at all times.
Absolutely.
I think every person is going to, no matter at what frequency you're functioning at, but whether you're very successful, and by success, I'm not only talking financially, but, family, life, everything, or you're really struggling and you're down in the dumps, struggling financially, family, etc. all those levels, there's always going to be challenges.
Always, bro.
And I found to sort of believe that if you're going to allow external, like things externally out of your own mind, dictate your mindset, you're never going to be able to have a solid mindset in the sense of you're going to always be up and down.
Of course.
Because there's high moments in life and there's low moments in life, you know? And that's why, for me, it's important to start spreading this message and awareness of you can't have a weak mindset in today's reality, because we exist in a reality where we're meant to be challenged and we're meant to learn things spiritually.
Of course.
Like, I always sort of take it back to a thing of like, if you get a flat tire, you know, you can either now let that ruin your whole day and become unproductive and get so deep and down because shit, I got a flat tire on the way to work, or you can look at it like, at some point our Creator was protecting me maybe from something down the line
Absolutely.
that we weren't aware of.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
I don't know what your take is on that.
I absolutely agree. It comes down to that everything happens for a reason, you know, like that kind of thing. And, you know, we don't always see why this is happening right now. The why is never really clear. You know, the why is never going to be clear right there in that moment.
Never.
You know, we're always going to see it as like, this just ruined my day. Like, can I just catch a break? What, like, why is this happening to me all the time? You know,
Yeah.
and I speak from personal experience because of the situation that happened about 2 weeks ago when they broke into my car. You know, I had a moment of like, dude, can I just catch a break? But then I also realized it could have been worse. They could have robbed me at gunpoint. I could have lost my life, you know, and these are monetary things that can be replaced at the end of the day.
Exactly.
So for all I know, you know, God had a plan in saying like, dude, you don't know why I'm doing this right now, but just keep going because something's better's coming, you know.
Yeah.
I don't think we always get that because we also focus on why, but not like, okay, but what is this leading to, you know? And that also, bro, that mindset is it's a game changer when you realize that at the end of the day, you know.
Yeah. And I think it takes hard work to keep that mindset.
It does, bro.
And that's what people need to start understanding. I believe society has really softened down and just expects everything to come easy and be easy.
Yeah. I think a lot of people expect things to just happen and fall in their laps at the end of the day.
Scared to put in laps as well.
Exactly, bro.
And people have become impatient because we've gotten such short attention spans due to how we consume media. And that's why like me and my business partner decided to stop consuming social media but rather produce on it to actually create value, because just consuming it the whole time shortens that attention span to the point where we expect everything to happen now.
Of course,
you know, in business, in life, in being a parent, in whatever aspect you're going to apply it to, we like want it now. And that's why I think we're sitting with that like such a level of a depressed society,
Of course,
right?
bro.
Speaking about like depression, anxiety, all of those, I've gone through them and diagnosed with them and all that, until I got to a point where I realized there's no such thing as mental illness. It's a thing that the medical field has created in order to chronically pump people full of pills. Maybe get into that a bit later as well. But it's actually just mental weakness.
Yes.
And it's continuously having thought loops in your mind of this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong.
Yeah.
And being a very pessimistic person over time actually changes the biochemistry in your brain to the degree that you do become really depressed.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying depression isn't real, but the thing of calling it an illness is what I say is not real, because you cause it yourself through like overthinking a certain way, you know.
Of course, bro.
So that for me was just quite like an interesting, I'd say, analogy that I had.
I like that, bro.
And that I found in my time in rehab. You know, I think it was also the first time I realized about taking true accountability and responsibility for yourself. I think very few people actually do that today. You know, like we were just saying now, everyone looks externally for like what is wrong with them internally, instead of actually doing introspection and figuring out what's wrong internally for us to actually be able to cope with the external that is up and down.
Absolutely, brother. Yeah, absolutely. I actually wanted to ask you, bro, like based on like mindset and stuff we're talking about now, right? You mentioned something. So you said, you know, getting into like rehab and stuff like that. That's obviously a mindset shift as well, bro.
Yeah.
Like how much work did that take to like shift, you know, get that mindset to be like, I'm not going back there. I'm not doing this again. Like, how much work did that take to actually get you to get to that place?
So, bro, for me personally, I think it was time away. I mean, I was away for like 5 months.
Yeah.
I got really deep into Xanax addiction. So essentially I tried to commit suicide. This was probably about 9, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
It was something that happened in my family that I just couldn't really process and
Okay.
stuff. And I chose to, instead of draw nearer to our creator or draw nearer to our true self, I chose to like just wallow in those
Yeah,
thoughts.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
got like depressed over time, and eventually tried to take my life. I was like, yeah, my wife found me the next day, got me to the hospital. They had to like do the whole pump your stomach thing. And then the doctors prescribed Xanax to me. And that's essentially when I really like fell like into a deep hole, because it made me feel like I wasn't alive, although I was now here, you know.
Yes.
It got to a point, bro, where I was like reliving days, like myself and my wife now, but my fiance then would like on a Friday night go to a movie, and then on a Sunday, like I'd show up to her work. She works in the ER, and as a doctor, I'd pull up like she's busy like mid-surgery type stuff, and I'm like, listen, when are we going to the movie? It's about to start. But I like that happened the Friday already.
Damn, yeah.
So for me, it wasn't really me personally who first picked up my mindset. My wife actually gave me an ultimatum to either I go to rehab and I get help, or she needs to leave, because she can't like see anymore how I was destroying myself. And obviously when she met me, she met like quite a strong individual, and I always sort of had a positive and powerful outlook on life until that moment happened. I felt like my whole world crushed. That's sort of when, you know, I put her through a lot of hell at first before the suicide attempt. There was a lot of things that took place, and then that happened, and then obviously the Xanax on top of the suicide attempt and stuff. It was just, I think she got to a point where she was realizing she's also going to damage her own life if she doesn't try and assist me to get right. So, I mean, literally the day of them deciding to send me to rehab, basically 2 weeks prior to that promise, like they had a little intervention with me, my mom and my dad and my wife, and they said to me like, look, I need to stop, or like, well, I actually need to go to rehab and stuff. And then I said, there's no ways I'm going to rehab. I'll stop on my own, like I'm powerful enough to do it. So I stopped for like 2 weeks, and then the one day, I think it was probably the first time I was sober again, in that 2 week period. And I relapsed hardcore, like went out to Long Street, spent like a shit ton of money on a credit card. I bumped a car, showed up to my aunt's house like in Constantia, and we were living in like Tygerberg area at that time, just asking like, where's Simone? But Simone's at the hospital working, and they saw I was like out of it. Next morning she came home, saw the Xanax pills lying on the counter, asked me did I take it. Obviously at that point was lying a lot and wasn't really a man of truth. And she basically took her ring off, put it there and said, I can't anymore. She left. About 2 hours later or so, her and my parents returned, and they basically just gave me that hardcore choice of like, either you're going to rehab now, like we've booked the plane ticket because the rehab was up in Joburg, like you're going to go for help, or we're going to like take someone out of your life now, because she doesn't deserve this. Makes me a bit emotional to talk about it as well. It was like a rough time. But when I was in the rehab, it was the first time, because I wasn't like in one of those 21-day 5-star retreat places. It was like really a rough rehab, sort of cockroaches running on your leg when you're sleeping type shit. And their motto there was, it's not your mother's house, but it's better than the streets. That place, together with my wife and my parents' support, and with finding God again, I believe is what put me on the track of starting to build that mindset. The mindset didn't just come instantaneously. It was even after rehab, I did a stint where I said to them, you know, I won't smoke weed for like 2 years. Because in the rehab, the whole time I was telling them, like, I'm not stopping weed. You guys must understand that. And I said, to prove to you guys I'm not addicted, I'll stop for 2 years when I'm out. And like literally on the 2-year mark, I started smoking again. Went like very deep into smoking again, and swear I believe like the mindset dip came again, you know. So the hard work that I did in the rehab was a lot of introspection. Like that was the first time where I clicked. I can't blame my family for what happened. I can't blame my wife. I can't, because I was alone, like very alone. The first 4 weeks in the rehab, you weren't allowed any contact with any outside people. So it was basically a month. And also, they always joked at the rehab and said I was at Alcatraz for jaywalking because I was there for like pharmaceuticals and weed.
Yeah.
I was like, amongst heroin addicts, crack addicts. Like, for me, that was like a very big shock to my system. I was actually raised in a very good home.
Yes.
My parents always loved and cared for me and gave me every opportunity they possibly could. So I was basically in the intake house, which is like a smaller house separate to the main house. I was sitting there, and I think for the first time, like, sober, and like I was looking at an oak that was like coming off of heroin, like that they took off the street, and he was lying like literally in his own feces and vomit and stuff. And that moment just like broke me to the point where I just realized like I never want to be in a space like this again. Like, I never want to find myself in an environment like this again. Not that it was a bad environment, because I give all credit to them for saving my life. Because if it wasn't for them and my wife, I would have probably ended up on the street or dead, So that's where the soul searching started.
Yeah.
And it was a Christian-based place. I'm not religious today. Like, I don't really tie myself to any religion in the sense of saying it, because using like those words to me, it has to mean something. If you say like you're a Christian or you're this or that, and we can even get a bit deeper into that as well.
Yeah.
But bro, the Bible, like, actually just there, living in it, and then praise and worship every Friday night. I made one or two solid like mates there where they also good now, actually living like quite alright lives. And it was the first moment of introspection. I think it was where the mindset building started, when I took the accountability and I stopped blaming everyone externally and my environment. That's where I believe it started. And then, like I say, I came out, still made a few bad decisions. I wasn't just straight off the bat like perfect.
Yeah.
I don't think a mindset like I've built over the years and that we're busy still currently building. I don't think I feel like mindset and life is just continuous creation. You have to continuously work hard at maintaining that level of thinking. So that's where I would say it started, was like when true introspection happened.
Yeah.
And I stopped looking externally for validation, but I actually started looking internally for what is wrong, like what put you here, like what type of a mindset got you to this place. And that's where the building process started.
Damn, bro, that got me a little bit, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
That's a story, bro. And I think a big takeaway that I got, bro, is just like how much your family was a support system for you, bro. To actually like stand in that gap for you, to like give you that ultimatum, which ultimately is the thing that set you up at the end of the day.
Yeah, 100%.
So I'm pretty sure that you're very big on like support, and your family is like everything, bro, in life. Because I mean, I'm very much somebody that does. I'm a steadfast believer in that, bro.
Yeah.
Like, and also getting into that, like your partner and the person that you choose ultimately at the end of the day makes or breaks you, bro.
Fact. Fact.
So it's actually such an incredible story to hear, bro, and what a testimony, bro. Like,
Yeah, bro. All glory to God, to my wife and my family, bro.
Yeah, bro.
That's where all the glory goes. Then I must say, like, small tap on the shoulder, like, to stick it through is not
you did the
easy,
work too, bro.
like that's what I try and spread with my message to everyone, is that no one is going to come and save you.
Oh, facts.
Like, there's literally no one, not your parents, not your, like, they helped me to get me to a spot where I can go save myself.
Yes.
Because I could have gone there. I mean, there's some of the Oaks, bro, that was at that rehab, there for like their 10th time, their 12th time. And that's when I realized, like, unless you save yourself and want to be better for yourself, like, you can't do this for your wife or for your parents or for anyone outside of yourself. You have to do it for you.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, true transformation can't take place.
Absolutely.
That's why we can, like, where I started now recently with, stopping the weed for the first time, actually taking that accountability as well, because I made it such a part of my identity that I believed I couldn't be without it. I smoked all day, every day, from when my eyes opened till I went to bed at night. And that's essentially when last year myself and my business partner, he essentially started the company in November of 2024, and I joined in February 2025. But for the first 4 months from January, we decided, you know what, we're going to do a year of sobriety, like off of alcohol, weed, everything. I've never really had a problem with drinking. I've never. It's like I still drink today. We only drink 4 occasions in a year, though. That's like a decision we made together at the start of this year again. Like weed is something that I've always struggled with. So in the beginning of last year, we took like the year goal, and then my birthday is at the end of April, and I turned 30 last year. So it was like a big, you know, how the 30th is for like,
big
especially
30.
for us South
Yeah, for
Africans,
sure.
and it's a jewel and whatever. And we just decided, you know what, we're gonna, like, we've now proven to ourselves again, we're not addicted. Like, we're gonna just, you know, enjoy my party. Said, okay, we're only gonna smoke Fridays now. Fridays became Saturday, Sunday. That became weeknights. All of a sudden, we were fully in it again, you know. And then towards November, November-ish, December, myself and my business partner just realized like our work output, our work ethic, like everything just changed again. That's when we decided, you know what, like my business partner loves his beers, like I love my weed, and like both of us decided to together sacrifice that for each other, but to actually like progress in life, you have to once again do internal inspection.
Of course.
And for like the last 3 years, I'd say it's actually been on my spirit to like stop. And I think that was most probably sort of when my daughter was about 2 or so, and she was starting to become more cognitive. And I think that played on like my subconscious. But I didn't want to pull through to the conscious yet. You know, it's like you almost always push it off, and you're like, I'll deal with it later. I'll deal with it later. And then we made that decision in November that like when we start again, like we're done with it. Like we have to be done with it, because we're not the type of people that can just smoke once a day at night or whatever. For us, every time it goes back into full stonership. Then in December, my daughter came to me. She saw my uncle smoking, I think, and he told her to like go away, it's dangerous, you know, the smoke and whatever. And essentially the one night when I came in from smoking outside, she said to me, Daddy, you really stink like smoke, and I want you to stop smoking because it's dangerous for you. And that was like a stab in the chest. That was, I mean, she's 4, and that for me was like the final, you know, like it's done now. Like you can't be doing this anymore.
Of course.
And then it was just comparing the first 4 months of 2025 to like the end of 2025. I was again looking at 2 completely different individuals. And that's when I realized, like, I'm 30 now, like, when am I going to stop playing around? You know, when am I going to grow up and become a man of leadership, of accountability, of responsibility? And that's why I say to you, bro, it's like, that was like a 9-year journey, actually, from the stage when I was at rehab to where I am now. That in like the last 2 months again, I've actually started building this mindset again. And it's like you asked me earlier, you know, how have I been dealing with not smoking and everything? And it's what I say to most people. Like, I think it's, especially for deep stoners, like it's going to bug you for the rest of your life. You know, I don't think it's going to be something that's just going to be gone and you're going to forever be okay. It's one day at a time, and choosing yourself and the control over your mind one day at a time.
Of course.
And like literally just sometimes have to make it to the end of the day, you know? Because even in that 2-year period, month 10 came along, month 14 came along, and there were days where I was just like, fuck this, I'm going to just do it. You know? And that's when I really realized, like, okay, shit. Like, but I had the thought in my head the whole time, like, okay, I just need to make 2 years. So I was like, that's fine. Like, we'll push through. And this time around, there's times where it's really tough, bro. And that's why I want to create awareness around this plant, and like that. I want to word it very carefully what I say here, but I'm not against medicine and, you know, doctors and everything. And sometimes like weed can be really beneficial to people. Like, I mean, I've heard of stories of people literally curing cancer with only pure THC oil compared to, you know, having to go for chemo and stuff. So it's not like I all of a sudden hate the plant, but I hate what the plant does to people who thinks that it's not a drug. you know, and like who convinces themselves that it's not a drug. And I did that for a very long time. And yeah, that's where the mindset building started,
bro.
and we're still continuing
Of course.
building that mindset, you
Of
know.
course, of course.
And hopefully, through my story and through like my past, I'm able to contribute and add some value to society. That's the whole goal with my pages and my channels that I'm trying to get off the ground, is to really make people aware of the fact that mindset in life is everything. And if you have a weak mindset, you're not going to get anywhere.
Oh, for sure, bro.
So that's why I'm making it a priority to actually build a strong mindset. And it's one day at a time, bro.
One day at a time, bro. Like everything else, one day at a time. That's awesome, bro.
Yeah.
That's
Obviously, like I've just explained, I've been documenting my own journey with,
Yes.
you know, becoming stricter on myself from the Zaza and things like that. Because I feel the need for accountability for men. I feel, especially in our country, leadership from men lacks in households. I think we're one of the countries with the highest fatherless rate
Yeah.
in the world, which is a bit scary. So how do you keep yourself accountable when you like in a deep prep and your brain is telling you to take the easy way out, and you know, you're having those challenges come up of like, oh, I can, you know, squeeze in a muffin
Yeah.
here, or I can quickly squeeze in a
Yeah.
chocolate bar. Because I've done a mini prep before, alongside, I don't know if you've heard of Chris Strachen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Chris, yeah.
yeah.
Yes, I know
So
Chris, yeah.
yeah, so he helped me do like a mini prep just
Yeah.
so that I could essentially see like, you know, what my physique can
Yes.
obtain. And bro, I must be honest, so this is where all the due respect comes to you and people like Chris. That level of determination and strive, like, because it's a constant struggle
It's a
throughout the prep
constant
route.
struggle, bro, you know?
So yeah,
Yeah.
what do you?
Well, so bro, prepping in itself I think it's very scary because you never really know what to expect, right? You never really know, is this prep going to be the same as the last prep? Is it going to be entirely different? Am I going to be tired? Am I not going to be tired? You know? So I think just entering a prep itself, you always need to make sure that you're ready for whatever does come and whatever does happen, right? So you need to make sure that you are in a really good space mentally to keep yourself accountable. You know, it's good to have a great support structure and your people around you, but you know what's the most important thing is you wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning. It's just you know, whether you are married or not, your wife's in your bed, she's sleeping, you know, your girlfriend is sleeping, it's just you awake. Your mind is going to play tricks and you say, dude, I'm hungry. Like you said, one muffin's not going to make much of a difference, you know. But at the end of the day, what does that do to your mindset? And you wake up the next morning, you're like, fuck, I should not have done that, and then you just start beating yourself up, and that can also send you into another downward spiral. You know, so the biggest thing for me, like when I get to that point in prep, and bro, there's been times where I mean I've been doing like 90 minutes of cardio on like 2,000 calories, you know, if not less, that I'm like on a stairmaster. And I remember this very vividly from my last prep. I was on a stairmaster and I broke down because I just told myself I can't do this anymore. I started crying and I said I can't. You know, like getting up in the morning, going to the bathroom becomes so tiresome, and you know, just even like drying yourself off after a shower. I was sitting on the bed and I just sat there and I was like, I just felt out of it, you know, because I was so exhausted. And at the end of the day, you ask yourself, why am I doing this? And you're not doing it for anyone around you because you're putting yourself through all of the suffering.
Yeah.
So, what I usually do when I get to that point, I need to remind myself what my goals are. And if I can't stick to this, if I literally cannot keep a promise to myself to finish this, I won't be able to keep a promise to anyone else because your word is everything. You know, your word is also your currency. I believe like if you can't keep your word to someone, as a man especially, you don't hold much value, you know?
Sure.
So your word is attached to your value, you know? So that's why I respect what you're doing, bro, because I can see that, you know, your word is your value, bro. Like you're literally doing what you're saying. And that's why I really respect all of the effort and the work that you're putting in, the message you're trying to spread. And so that's what I tell myself, you know, and then I think further, it's like, if I'm a dad one day, what am I going to teach my kids? You know, if I can't, for example, say, cool, it's Tuesday, let's go kick a rugby ball outside, and I come up with some excuse as to why I can't do it, that that boy or girl or whatever is going to learn that it's okay to not keep your word.
Yeah.
You know, so if I can't keep a promise to myself, I literally won't be able to keep a promise to anyone else.
Yeah.
So it starts within you. You know, so that's literally how I approach it, bro.
Hectic.
And it's tough to get to that point because you get so close, bro. Like I'd get so close in prep where I take a box of cookies and I'll open it and I'd smell it. I would literally smell that box of cookies, bro. Just for some kind of like, just to give me that sense of like, oh, this is just different than anything else that I've been eating,
Yeah.
And it's so easy to just put your hand in and want to take one, and then you need to remind yourself like, this might not set me back, but in my mind it will. And I'm not keeping my word. I said that I was going to do this, and I said that I was going to push through.
Yeah.
And in that means like I can't let myself down,
Yeah.
let alone the people around me, So that's how I see it, bro. That's how I get through it. Especially those really dark, deep moments in prep when you question yourself and like, why am I doing this? It's just a promise to yourself at the end of the day.
Yo, that's so powerful what you said there, bro. Like I'm actually a bit speechless. It's crazy. Like that's such a powerful statement to say, is that a man's value is attached to his word.
Yeah, bro.
That's insane, bro. And that's the truth, like that's where, like your question to me earlier is actually, it's just, I want to stop lying to the man in the mirror,
Right?
I've got all of these dreams and goals and aspirations. It really comes down to just, if you're going to lie to yourself, then what else are you capable of doing?
Precisely, bro.
Yeah.
Like it's so much deeper than that, right? Like it can really, and that's like, I even just look at my dad, for example, who I consider him to be my hero because I really look up to him. Like he's, in my opinion, I couldn't be more thankful for the father that I got. And small little things, bro. He'll be like, it'll be a Saturday morning and he's like, oh, I'm gonna go ride the bike now because he's a road cyclist. I think I'll give him a lot of credit where I feel like all of my sporting and the mindset that I have in terms of that comes from him. Like he'll go and he'll just go do like 120 Ks on a Saturday morning, at 50 years old, just because he loves what he does.
Mad.
And then he'll be like, okay, cool. I'm going to cut the grass when I get home. And he'll do it. He will literally do it. And it's small things like that that make you realize like, when you say you're going to do something, you have to keep that word to yourself.
Yeah.
And I've realized that so many times that I said, okay, cool, I'm going to cut the grass in my house, and I don't do it. At the end of the day, I feel so unaccomplished and so disappointed in myself. Because not only did I set that expectation on myself, but what about if I had a partner that thought I was going to do this now, or whatever the case might be. It's just, I'm a very firm believer in that. And I speak out of experience as well because I've disappointed myself a lot of times. And I feel like there's no level of disappointment that goes further than when you disappoint yourself.
Yeah, true. Very, very true. And that goes back to that moment I had in the rehab. It's like, I put myself here, you know, and it's disappointing. And that's also where I feel like a lot of people drop the ball a bit, is that they wallow in that disappointment instead of actually just picking yourself up out of it and then taking the responsibility that's due.
Absolutely.
And then sticking to your word. And that's our goal for 2026. We still made a video, it's tagged at the top of my profile on TikTok, where we said the laws for 2026,
Yes.
like delusional positivity, making sure like to always reassess your environment, who are you putting yourself around, because I also am a firm believer in, you are your 5 closest people, you're sum total of that. So if I'm going to keep putting myself around people who, as an example, says, I don't have money, can drink on a weekend and have a braai, like, what am I going to be? You're
going to be one of them.
Exactly. And that's where you just say that your value as a man is tied to your word, also goes to how powerful words are, bro. The way that we speak to ourselves, the way that we speak about our circumstances, and that's once again where I take it back to that up and down. We've sort of gotten ourselves to a state, myself, my wife, my business partner, where we don't, like, if something negative is taking place or something negative is going on in our lives, we choose to rather just not speak about it even. We actually more just then try and speak about something positive.
Of course.
Because, and that's a little bit where we can take it to like the God side of things but there's a verse in the Bible where God says, if you ask with your heart, He'll give you whatever your heart desires. And I once came to this realization that, but if you're negative the whole time, because what is the heart He's speaking of? He's not speaking of your pumping blood heart. He's speaking of your mind, your verstand. Like
yes.
You understand what I mean?
I know exactly what you're speaking about.
If you're going to constantly be negative and speaking negativity, that's what you'll be attracting, because He's going to give you what your heart truly desires.
Absolutely.
And if all you're thinking and speaking is negativity, then that's what your heart is desiring. It's internal.
Exactly, bro.
So that's so powerful, bro.
Exactly, bro. The Bible speaks of how powerful the tongue is as well. You know, for example, like I can take a stone, I can throw you with it, you'll heal and you'll forget about it. But if I tell you you have no value as a man or you're useless, you're gonna hold on to that, bro. I hurt you so much more by saying those things. So now imagine just saying that to somebody you might not know, and that's gonna sit with him. But now, what does it do to your mind when you say that about yourself? You know, continuously every single day. I'm not good enough. Oh, I'm pathetic. Oh, I'm this. Like the power of your tongue and the words that you say to yourself are so important, especially if you're trying to achieve something, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Bro, it's so powerful, dude. It's crazy actually. Like people don't realize it, but it's so powerful.
Yeah.
You know?
It's so powerful that you realize that at 27, bro.
Literally, bro.
And I think it's because of what you obviously put yourself through.
Of course, bro. Yeah.
I sort of believe a lot in like a stoic lifestyle,
Yes.
and you know, like old school masculinity and being the provider and the protector of your household and stuff. And you know, providing doesn't necessarily always mean financially, but providing in the sense of emotional care, of you know, taking care of your loved ones, being there, being present. And that's something I felt for many years I lacked because of like smoking my brain away, you know.
Yes. Yeah.
I wasn't actually providing emotional stability and security, and that's one of the biggest struggles I have at the moment. You know, my wife is taking the biggest brunt of me going through this journey. I mean, I'm only on almost month 2 now, you know, so for 13 years having smoked, except now the 2-year gap, but like there was no emotional regulation, you know, so you don't learn how to actually deal with certain emotions and
Yeah.
stuff, and now all of a sudden you're sober and it's like, whoa, what is this,
It
and
hits
what
you
is
like a
this,
flood,
and
I
like
suppose.
what is this part of yourself? That was just, bro, those are powerful words to have at
Yeah, bro.
27. But in my opinion, bodybuilding is basically a controlled suffering
Yeah.
for months on end,
Yes.
right? And how has that physical struggle helped you handle the stresses of real life outside of the gym?
Damn. That's a very good question. And the way it's helped me is to just be able to have perseverance, you know. Because the thing is, stress is inevitable. You can't avoid it. You know, you can't avoid the struggles that's outside of the gym. You know, so we usually go to the gym to get away from that, you know. And then you get home and there's still stress there. Oh, I got to pay this, or I got to do that. Oh, I didn't do this, or there's always something that might happen that's going to cause you stress. So I think the biggest way that I would say that bodybuilding has helped is just to remain positive and you know to have perseverance, you know, because with that and a prep, it's a short time period. It's like, okay, let's say 20 weeks, for example. You know there's going to be an end to the suffering. You know it. Like you know that you're going to get to the end of it. You know, like, okay, cool, I've got 5 more weeks, I've got 4 more weeks. So if you knew that there was an end to stress, would you still push through? So that's the kind of thing that you need to always, like, I remind myself of, okay, this is just it's just it's temporary. You know, the stress I'm experiencing right now might be different the next month. So what I'm going through right now is temporary. I can get through it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's one thing that bodybuilding really has taught me, bro. It's just, you know, if you push through the difficult times, you're gonna get to the end of it. You know, no matter how long you think that it is, there is always an end to it. There's always an end to some kind of stress or suffering or pressure, whatever you're going through.
Yeah.
Next month might have more, but you tackle it when you get there.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So that's for me, bro. Like, it's especially when you're running your own businesses too, bro. There's you. I mean, you know this, bro. The stress doesn't stop really. You know, it really doesn't stop. You know,
I
there's
think it will
always
just
something.
always be there.
Yeah, and you learn to cope with it as well. You learn to manage it, but you also know that, for example, there's this saying that Chris Bumstead has: "Pressure makes diamonds."
Yeah.
You can look at the same thing. Stress is putting pressure on you, but the way you handle that stress is going to ultimately determine the outcome of it. You know, so if you're really handling it well and you're pushing through, the outcome of it's going to be very positive.
Yeah.
But if you're somebody that when stress comes, you go sit in a ball and you feel sorry about yourself, it's going to get worse. You know, and you're not going to get through it at any rate actually, because you're just going to sit there.
Yeah.
You're going to let it affect you. You're going to let it almost like cripple you.
Yeah.
You know?
100%.
So yeah, bro, that's that in my opinion, that would be the, like, that's how I do it, you know.
Okay.
It's not always easy though. Like, I will be honest, bro. It's really, really tough because you allow sometimes, you know, external factors to get the better of you. And I can speak from first-hand experience, bro. Like, I've been through quite a few things over the past few years that has really taken a toll on me mentally. And you know, it's taken some some work, bro. A lot of internal work to just be able to even sit here and be like, you know what, like it's crazy to look back and say I got through those things. You know,
Yeah.
it might not be the same as a lot of other people, but everyone's fighting their own battles too. You know,
Yeah.
and you get through it, bro.
Mm.
You're still standing. We're still
Yeah.
fighting. We're getting through everything we're going through,
Yeah.
and I think that's a positive thing. You know, and that's
Mm.
all simply just because we kept going.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't allow that stress and that pressure to just keep you there.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that's crazy. And you say you've got two businesses. What businesses are you running at the
So
moment?
it's online coaching. So I do
Okay.
the online coaching. So basically, it's like personal training but online
Yeah.
and e-commerce.
Okay, lekker.
Yeah. So e-commerce. It's still very new and it's very different to what I'm used to because I've done online coaching for such a long time now
Yeah.
that it's kind of just it's I almost want to say like that's who I am,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But you can never really put value to something like that because you should know who you are without your business, without your money, without that. Like who are you as a person, right?
Yeah.
But I've done it for so long that I actually started, like, if I asked myself that question, who are you? I'd be like, oh, I'm a bodybuilder, I'm a coach, I'm a this, I'm a this, I'm a this, you know? And I started realizing that. And that's when I ultimately said, I actually want a little bit more for my life too, you know? I don't
Mm.
just want to be known as Blayne, who's this bodybuilder, but I want to be known as, you know, a little bit more than that.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to, like, find different avenues. I came across e-commerce and I'm enjoying it, bro. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's difficult, it's different, but it's always, I feel, important to learn, you know?
And are you focused on like product selling
Yeah.
on e-commerce? Okay,
Product selling,
lekker.
yeah. Yeah. So it's mainly fitness and beauty niche because you
Okay.
can kind of sell that to everyone,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah.
So yeah, it's still very startup, but you know,
It's
learning
gonna
and
get
taking it
there.
one day at a time, bro.
And it's gonna grow. It's gonna
Yeah,
grow.
one day at a time.
I think that's the best niche to be in, bro. Like to sell beauty and to sell fitness. Everyone wants to
Everyone wants
look
it,
good
bro.
and feel good, right?
Yeah, everybody wants it.
Not everyone's willing to put in the effort though. That's the thing.
That's the thing, bro. In your mind, how would you go about changing that, bro? Like, if you were somebody that wants to make that change in your life, right? If you're unhappy with how you feel, how you're looking, so for you as Brandon, how would you like? What would you change first?
The
In,
first thing I would change is I'd start exercising
yeah,
because I believe there's a lot of power in exercise. Actually, in a podcast we did earlier today on the marketing side, the guy that we were interviewing said it very well that exercise is the only high that doesn't have a come down. And it was quite powerful to me because I feel that it's a real thing where you got to be disciplined. You got
yes,
to show up every day. So for me, like I would say to start with exercise,
yeah,
and then to truly like love yourself internally. You know, it's difficult in today's time to love yourself because I feel we
yes,
live in a comparison mindset a lot of the time due to social media, and that's why I also decided to give up social media. So that would be my second suggestion: is to
yeah,
take a break and a detox from cheap dopamine, and to actually really work on the internal mind frame through growing it, like you tackling a new business and going into e-commerce and growing your knowledge in a new skill and in a new avenue. I feel that we should continuously search for that because
absolutely,
we can't just, like you say, you don't want to just be Blayne the bodybuilder, but like I feel for us as men, like it's so important to build value towards society, and it can't just come
absolutely,
out of one avenue or out of one piece of knowledge. So for me, it would be getting into exercise, really learning how to love yourself, and by love yourself, I mean even to have grace for yourself on the bad days, the days that it is difficult, and that you almost like you struggle to get through those days, but as long as you just make it to the end,
yeah,
once again. And the third thing would be to really gain knowledge, because I feel knowledge is what gives you identity, because you are what you consume, you are what you think about, and you are what you allow yourself to be around. So good habits is going to lead to a good looking, good feeling person.
yeah,
And
absolutely,
looks is not just in facial structure or body structure, but good looks comes from the way that you carry yourself, the way you think about yourself, the way that you speak to yourself.
absolutely,
That's
yeah.
how I would say that.
Ah, bro, I like that, bro. This might be completely off topic because this is actually a question I wanted to ask you. You remember when we had that call on, when we called, I think it was like 2 weeks ago.
Mm,
Something that you mentioned like really spoke to me like very very highly. When we discussed about the podcast and what it is we might talk about and all those things, you mentioned to me, and I'm asking this because I feel like a lot of people can actually take this and they should ask themselves this exact question: is essentially like the 5 pillars that you hold like very, very close to your life.
Yeah.
You said that to me, and after that call I sat and I was like, damn, what did I always say is my 5 pillars as a man? Like, what do I hold very close to my heart? Like that kind of strengthens me in the day. Like, what would I associate that with? Yeah, bro. Like, I wanted to ask you that again because I feel like it was so powerful and it had me sit and think that whole day where I had to be like, damn, like this is a very powerful question, and I've never actually thought of something like that before.
Yeah. My 5 pillars is, I feel, to be a good contributing human towards society carries the 5 pillars that I believe is vital to have under control. And that is fatherhood and motherhood. I feel every human should experience that because we were created to procreate.
Yes.
And to continue creating life. And there's very big agendas to depopulate and to slow down that, which should tell you something, like
Definitely.
who's doing that and what's busy with that. I feel fitness and health should be in check because, once again, that takes it back to your previous question. Nutrition, diet, the way that you eat, the things you consume, because ultimately what you eat as well is how you look and how you feel, right? And I mean, you'll know that during a prep, why you hit those low feelings is because you're putting your body through a situation of actually not consuming what it really needs at that moment, but there's a goal at the end.
Yes.
But it's like, that's why I believe that's very powerful. I believe mindset and psychology is something that you should have in check, and that if it's not in check, you should get it in check by learning how the brain works, how psychology works, why you feel sometimes the way you do, etc. And then the fifth one is obviously vices and addiction.
Yeah.
And I carry those, like I came up with those 5, literally, I would only say towards the end of last year. And it's where I just had the realization of, I've got 3 of them in order, but 2 of them are not in order, and if you could have 4 of them in order and struggle with only vices and
Yes.
addictions, it could ruin all 4 other pillars with time.
Absolutely.
And that's where one of those 5 pillars, if not all of them are in check, then they're gonna over time affect the others, because you can only keep going for so long without having those 5 in check. So that's why it's so important for me to spread that message. And basically, it's like I explained to you on that call, that's the 5 pillars that my value and contribution I feel to society will be about, and what I want to build my channel and my programs around. Because as much as we love being in the service in the service industry, I want to move away from servicing like clients and stuff, but more moving into serving people.
Yes.
Right.
Yes,
and
yes,
giving
yes.
value to people. And the reality is we live in a life and in a reality where money is a part of life. It's a currency, it's an energy. It's something that everyone should have in order to actually live comfortably in this lifestyle.
Yeah.
God also, always speaks about being a good steward of finances. But if you're choosing to go buy weed, but you should be, maybe buying better meat for yourself to eat and be more healthy, like, once again, your vice is affecting one of the other things.
Exactly.
But I feel that I want to start gaining my monetary energy from creating value into people's lives.
Yes.
So that's why I'm working so hard at building these personal brands, is in order to firstly create value to society and to people. And I know that with time, when I've helped enough people and I have enough testimonies, value in currency will start returning to me.
Absolutely.
And that's why, like, I'm building out a course at the moment. Will probably be done towards the middle, maybe the end of this year, which will be like workbooks, video, like full on course, to get those 5 pillars in check. And that's what I want to move into, actually bringing in my currency value. And that's the goal with all of this. As much as it is serving people and creating value, it's also, I want to be able to look after my family.
Yes.
And be present to my family. And I feel if you running businesses where you're having to 24/7 be at work, or like you're in the office, or your conventional ways of working, I believe is starting to become a bit outdated, in the sense of if you want to be present in your families, and
Yeah.
that's why I think it's so cool that we have this opportunity in today's lifetime to be able to use the internet and to
Yeah.
use social media to create value towards society and actually be looked after by the people you give value to,
Of course.
and then in turn spend more time with family. And yeah.
Yeah, bro. I wanted to ask that because I felt it was so powerful when you said that to me, bro. I really like that because I feel like, I think each individual's like 5 pillars. I mean, it can even be 3, 4, whatever pillars that you hold close to you. I feel like it's so important to have that, bro, because not only do you sit and you actually have to go through it and think of it for yourself,
Yeah.
but those are kind of the things that, like you said, bro, each and every single one flows into the other. If you don't have the one in check, it's probably going to end up affecting the rest of them.
Yeah.
I just felt that was pretty like that had me thinking for a minute. So I wanted to ask that again because I feel like so many people can actually learn from that
Sweet.
and do it themselves,
Yeah. And actually go and figure out what are your pillars.
Exactly.
Because everyone's is different.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, obviously, those are just 5 pillars that I mentioned in the sense of self accountability and
Yes.
responsibility. But the main pillar above everything is having a relationship with your creator.
For sure,
And
brother.
understanding what that is. Everyone has a different experience and perception of what that is, but I feel that is the main glue that holds all those 5 pillars together. I just wanted to mention that
No,
as well because I
I
feel that
agree.
it is vital.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everyone has a difference of opinion of who or what that is, which is fine, each
And
to their own.
each of them.
Everyone's having their own experience and perception of life. But I do believe that we were created and we are still being created. And that's what I say to you, creation is still forming within us, through the way that
Absolutely,
we
bro.
think and
Yeah, yeah,
the thoughts that we choose to take action on
yeah,
or not
yeah,
take action on.
yeah. Absolutely, bro. I agree with you. Faith is your faith or your relationship with God, and that is whichever God that religion it is that you are in. That'll always be kind of like the pillar, bro. The glue that holds everything together. Um, and it's like you said, bro. Like there was this thing that my pastor said about a couple of weeks ago that I actually keep it very close to me because I feel like it's so true. We all, in essence, we're broken people. Like we've all gone through things that we think like that's made us broken. Some people feel like they're not good enough for anything.
Yeah.
And what was actually said was like, what, you got to think of like you this, you know, you a pot. If you break, a lot of people think this can't be fixed. But God's a potter. Like He can really mold you into kind of the image that He wants you. He's the creator at the end of the day, and He will mold you and take a broken thing and make it new again. So no matter how broken you think you are, if you're in line with your faith, God will fix you up, make you new in the image that He wants you to, and you're not broken. You're not actually a broken. You're never too broken to start over.
Yeah,
You know,
100%.
you're never too
100%.
broken to not be good enough.
That's such a powerful message, bro. And that's like a powerful message your pastor delivered, because if you go look at each man in the Bible that God actually used, where were they when He
Bro,
found them?
right?
And that's where I just believe the power comes from, is He's going to make us into something great.
Absolutely.
And that's beautiful, bro. Brand is a lot about becoming aware of negative habits, becoming aware of how you live, how you talk, and it's about cutting out processed junk and low vibrations, right?
Yeah.
In the fitness world, there's so much bro science and noise today. What's one truth about fitness or life that you think people are totally overcomplicating right now, and that they could like actually just simplify down and stop trying to make excuses?
The easiest one is that fitness is for everyone. Some people think because I look a certain way, I'm too overweight or I'm too this, I can't go to the gym. It's not really the case. The gym is actually supposed to be such a positive environment. Everyone's there to better themselves. And it's such a cliche thing to say, but if you think of why someone goes to train, you go there literally because you want to be better, you know? And I think so many people don't believe that fitness is for everyone. I mean, I don't know if you know Joey Swell,
Yeah.
like the CEO of Positive Gym
Yeah,
Vibes and stuff.
yeah.
I mean, I see so many times where people will look at someone that's overweight or, that will kind of like talk down to somebody that's trying to do something that they might not usually do. And it creates this kind of like this very bad look of what the fitness industry is, and that it's only for certain people that know what they need to do.
Yeah.
But everybody was a beginner, bro.
Yeah.
Everybody started somewhere. I mean, the best in the best started as maybe as a skinny guy.
Yeah.
You know, every professional basketball player, rugby player, all started as a beginner. You know, and started with, I want to do this.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that everybody overcomplicates that so much that you need to be able to, you know, actually like really when you go in there, you need to know this is how much you got to lift to build a certain amount of muscle, or this is what a drop set is, this is what a tricep is, this is what, when that's not the case, where you just go to the gym and just walk on the treadmill, you know, like just get familiar with the environment. Fitness is for everyone, you know, that's what fitness is there for.
Yeah.
It's literally for everyone. Everyone
Yeah.
overcomplicates it and makes it seem like it's this, you know, highly intelligent place where everybody goes to that knows exactly what they're doing. I started as just a guy that, well, I started bodybuilding or I started training because I wanted attention. You know, you go to high school and you see how the girls go on, and you know that was kind of the main reason as to why I started.
I think that's why
you know?
most men start.
Exactly, bro. You know, but I started once in a place where you know I would be, you know, I went to the gym and I didn't know anything too. You know, like, and now it's my livelihood. It's what I do.
Yeah.
I help people for a living.
Yeah.
You know, it's for everyone, bro. It's not just designated for a specific kind of person.
Yeah.
It's literally there for everyone to better themselves.
So yeah, that's my questions for you. I don't know if you have anything else.
Bro,
you'd
you
like
know,
to
I
ask
kind of
for.
like went off a lot of them that I did have for you with like kind of just like maneuvering around the questions that you had.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest thing, bro, that I wanted to ask you, like going off of the things like your why, right? Your ultimate goal in life, like in about, let's say, 10 years, you know, let's say you do reach your why. Do you think your why will ultimately be different to what you're trying to achieve right now? Or, you know, like when you get to that point, would you just be satisfied with all the work you've done and with where you are?
I don't think I'll ever be satisfied. I think my why is going to always get greater. And I feel a limiting part to my why currently is finances to a certain degree.
Yeah.
That's why I make that a part of my goals, is to be financially free.
Yes.
And by financially free, I mean like I really want to have and carry great wealth, not only for myself personally and my family to provide for them and to give to them, but also to make my why even bigger in the contribution and value that I create to society. You know, I watched the podcast, I don't know if you watched it at all, between Alex Hormozzi and Tony Robbins.
Yes.
The other day.
Yeah. The most recent one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And bro, when Tony Robbins said that, you know, his why has become like he's fed 1 billion people, you know, like you can buy all the houses and the cars and the everything, like, and I mean, I'm not going to sit here and lie and say that I don't like nice materialistic things.
Of course,
I do, and that's why I do want to have a nice house for my family to grow up in. I do want to have nice sports cars because I like speed,
Of course, bro.
and I love good engineering. It's not about what it shows to the world, but it's about personal goals I have for
It's for
myself that I want to obtain. But my why, as my finances become bigger, will just become bigger, and I don't think I'll ever be satisfied. Basically, until the day, you know, you're lying on your deathbed and you can hopefully look back and have created not only a difference to society, but have left behind a legacy. You know, and the legacy that I want to leave behind is firstly to hopefully be in a position where my daughter never has to work a day in her life, but I want her to actually do what she wants to do. But also to leave behind a story where I contributed to society to a level where the name does get remembered. You know, I don't believe we're here to not be recognized or to not be acknowledged.
Yeah.
I believe we're here with purpose, and we should all create, you know, value to society to the degree where there's a legacy left behind.
Absolutely.
I want people to know who Brandon Loxton was and what he did for the world. To also leave behind, I want to be the difference and, how can I say, the provider for generations to come. You know,
I like that, bro.
so yeah, I don't think the why will ever be satisfied. It's just going to grow and grow and get bigger and bigger.
I like that, bro. I like that. That's powerful, man.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
Yeah, bro.
Shit, bro. Some nuggets, like you said, man.
Yeah. So Blayne, bro, I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
I think you carry a lot of wisdom for someone at the age of 27.
Thank you, bro.
I know I focused a lot, obviously, on what you do and didn't go too much in your history, but I can see you also have experienced a lot in life.
Yeah.
And I think that's why you've been able to build the mindset that you have. And it's very inspiring for me to see younger people, because a lot of people your age don't think the way that you do or don't look at life the way that you do. And it's very inspiring for me that we're able to sit in this position and have
Yeah.
these mindsets and spread the message, and
Yeah.
don't stop what you're doing, you know.
Thank you, bro.
Just keep pushing, bro,
Thank you, bro. Thank
because you've got a good message to share.
Thank you.
And I feel that anyone who has something to say should say it loudly
Definitely.
and proudly and confidently, because our truths are meant to be heard.
Absolutely. Absolutely, bro.
So, yeah.
Oh, bro, I agree. I think every person carries a level of truth that, you know, kind of speaks loudly to most of everyone, but some people are just scared to speak about that truth, you
Yeah.
know. But it was, bro, it was super special just sitting with you and talking to you and, you know, getting to know you better, because I believe like that's the most important thing, bro. You know, connecting with people, bro. Like we spoke about earlier, you know, relationships are so important. To build relationships with people that are like-minded individuals is rare, bro, because not a lot of people have those mindsets, like you said.
Yeah.
You know, so it's so important to build a network of people that you know think and believe and walk kind of like the same walk that you walk.
Yeah.
That are people of, you know, action, people of their word, because it's lacking, bro. You know, so it was actually a very empowering, you know, time for me to just sit here and hear you out and just hear what you have to say, because, bro, you've got a lot to share, man. You've got a lot to share, bro. So just with the little that we spoke about and just from watching your videos too, bro, you've even inspired me, bro, you know. And
Shot, bro.
I've shared that with so many of my friends as well, bro, you know, who you are and the message that you spread, because I feel it's so powerful. So thank you for what you're doing, bro. I mean,
No, I
you're doing some
appreciate
pretty big things and you're actually changing lives, bro.
I
You
appreciate
know,
that,
you
bro.
really are.
And we need to put it on camera. I'm still waiting for your friend to call me.
Hey, hey, Joe, you gotta call this man.
We got to speak, brother.
You gotta
We
call
got to
this man.
speak. Brother, I
Brother,
appreciate your time.
thank you so much,
Seriously,
man.
you're a
Really.
legend. And
Thank you, bro.
may all blessings and growth come your way.
Thank you, bro.
And I hope
Thank
that
you.
everything you touch turns to gold.
Same to you, bro.
And
Same to you,
I'm
honestly.
excited to see what we do for this generation and the generations to follow.
It's gonna be special, bro.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a legacy.
Share.
All right. It's good.